I'd like to try to get started, and we can hopefully keep this one short. So welcome everyone to the June 15, 2020 full board meeting of Community Board 10. We do have a few new members here, and I'd like to say hello. I hope you guys have fun. You're only getting in for the last meeting before we go on hiatus, so you just get your feet wet. Hopefully you'll come back in September. You won't get too scared. So we like to start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. So, Mark, do we have a graphic up or a flag? Do we? Anybody?
Where's Joe? Joe, is there one behind you?
Oh, you've got
flag?
it?
Uh-oh.
What happened?
As I look around, no flag. Josephine will bring us to a flag, don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, she just passed one.
You just passed a flag.
You want that flag? Okay, we have a flag.
Okay. So I'll just start the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation
under God,
indivisible,
liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to call for an adoption of the agenda. Anybody want to out?
I'll make a motion.
All right.
Second.
Wait, who was it?
Ruth, and who do we have? Doris?
Doris and Ruth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And for an adoption of the minutes?
So move.
Move to adopt, Donna.
Who's that, Lori?
We'll do Brian. Is that who I heard? Okay, and now we will move to the public session. I would like to, we're trying to keep the 10 minutes total, and we would like the speakers to try to limit themselves to 2 minutes each. So I would first like to ask our councilman, Justin Brannan, if you'd like to say a few words. Do we have Justin? No? Okay. I think he was elected on the roster to speak this evening. Is that correct?
Yes. Also, Senator Granada said he would be here. I don't know if he's here.
See him.
I
Yeah.
don't see either of them.
Wow, this is going to be the shortest public session we've ever had. But maybe.
Michael has his hand up.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Thanks, Mark.
Michael Festa? You have to unmute. You have your hands up, Michael.
By accident.
Maybe it's stuck. Right, I got it. Ignore it.
Okay, so I would suggest that we possibly just close the public session for a moment, maybe move on to our public hearing, and if any of our electeds come in a little bit later, we'll circle back if that's okay with everyone. So I'd like to move on to the public hearing. We have a review of a BSA special permit application. So I'd like to turn that over to Doris. Doris?
Doris, you have to unmute yourself. Unmute. Can you?
Doris?
Okay, sorry. Never have your hand near the mouse. The Zoning and Land Use Committee met in quorum via Zoom on Monday, June 8th at 7 p.m. The committee met to discuss an application for a special permit under section 73-36 of the zoning resolution for a physical cultural establishment, a gym, at 437 88th Street. The property lies in a C8-2 and C42A zoning district. Physical culture establishments are not permitted use groups in these zoning districts. This application is not yet calendar. Also in attendance, in addition to committee members, was Todd Dale representing the applicant. The building is on an irregular lot, and the applicant intends to make the basement a cellar, which will be used for lockers. The first floor will be a lobby, and the second floor will be a gym of approximately 10,200 square feet. The bulk is allowed under the current zoning and has been approved by the buildings department. One of the conditions of a special permit is that the use will not impair future development of the lot. And there is nothing in this that would affect future development. The operator of the gym will be Blink, which is part of the Equinox Group. Blink is corporate owned, not a franchise. The Department of Buildings also approved the operator. If Blink leaves, the premises can be converted to any approved usage for the zoning laws. If it is a new gym, that operator would need to be approved by the Board of Standards and Appeals. A motion was made to approve the application, and the motion was seconded. A roll call was held, and the motion was approved unanimously. The district office has the full attendance list. So we have a motion. Do we have any discussion? Any questions?
Any comments?
Any comments?
Do we know, this is Habib, do we know who put the application, which group?
The group that's going to run the gym is a group called Blink. They have many facilities in Brooklyn and the city. And the owner is Tim Ziss.
You have Henry Stewart with his hand up?
Yes, Henry.
Are they using the existing building or are they putting up a new building?
No, they're using the existing building, making some modifications to it.
To the outside as well or just to the inside?
They really didn't say, and we did not ask. There might be, as part of the renovations, there might be some changes, but it wouldn't be anything that would require a zoning review.
Right. From the drawings, it does look like there's going to be some, improvements to the front of the facade in the building. We just had the drawings submitted to us. It looks like there'll be some, enhancements to the front, but overall, the existing shell of the building looks like it'll stay, in its existing footprint.
Barbara has her hand up.
Yes, Barbara.
I'm just curious as to what is in this building now.
Nothing.
Okay.
It had been.
Yeah, it had a nightclub.
Yes.
Oh, the top of the crescent, is that it?
No, this is behind it.
Yes.
Oh, it was Legacy and Pastels.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
Wow.
So,
Oh, no, sorry. I just realized what building it was. Pastel.
If I hold this up, can you see it?
No, I just have my card.
A long time ago.
Memories. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions? Okay, Doris.
Okay, hearing none.
Just hang on, Julie has questions in the chat. People should be paying attention to the chat too. Julie has a couple of questions there.
Actually, I'm not really sure. I think we just do the questions from the chat. People, it's too, there's too much conversation going back and forth. We haven't really been doing that, Brian. So
this format's been working fine.
Julie?
Yeah, Julie asked if there was parking.
I got my answer. I didn't see the drawing. Unfortunately, I got the answer. I know what the building is. I'm familiar.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's a good point though, for everyone. If you would like to ask a question, just please, do it with the raised hand feature because it's too hard, for the administrators to follow the questions in the chat, and answer everything. But, okay, so are there any other questions? Okay, Doris, you want to call it?
Yes. Shall we call the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are we doing roll
Do roll
call?
call?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
The only way we figured out.
Yes.
Okay. I will do the roll.
Joe?
If I guess everyone can mute until their name is called. So Tracy Britton. In favor. Jane Kapitanakis.
In favor.
Shirley Chin.
Absent.
Judy Collins.
In favor.
Doris Cruz.
In favor?
Ida D'Amelio.
In favor.
Richard Day.
In favor.
Michael Devine.
In favor.
Thank you, Michael. Chris Ellison.
In favor.
Ann Felutico. In favor. Carmen Feliciano.
I don't think she's here.
Okay. Michael Festa. Michael.
In favor.
Thank you. Barbara Gurmack.
In favor.
Diane Grenardis. Diane.
In favor. I couldn't unmute myself.
That's okay. Steve Griffith.
Absent.
Judith Grimaldi.
Not here yet.
Okay. Steve Harrison.
Aye.
Thank you. Dan Heddix.
In favor.
John Heffernan.
In favor.
Justin Hyatt.
In favor.
Jill Hajar.
In favor.
June Johnson.
She's absent.
Habib Juday.
Okay with me?
Brian Kazuba.
Aye.
Stella Kokolis. Marty Lentz.
She's here, Stella.
Oh, Stella's here? Okay, Stella.
In favor.
Okay.
Marty said in
Marty
favor.
said in favor. Okay. Okay. Wei Ging Leo.
In favor. It's Wei Jing.
Oh, Wei Jing, I'm sorry. Nice to
okay.
meet you. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Okay. Nick Leonardos.
In favor.
Stephanie Mahaney.
In favor?
Ryan Mahoney.
In favor.
Anthony Marino.
I'll take a membership too. In favor.
Okay. Ruth Mazer.
In favor.
Anthony.
Nick Massa. I know he's here. Nick?
He's muted.
Nick, can you unmute yourself?
Or raise a hand.
In favor.
Okay.
Oh, good. Sorry.
That's okay. Iris Muley? Marissa Perez?
In favor.
Susan Pulaski?
Favor.
Dean Rossinia?
Absent.
Oh, he's absent. Dr. Romawi? I know he was trying to get on. He called me. All right, we'll mark him absent right now. Joe's absent. Larry Stelter?
Recusal.
Henry Stewart?
In favor.
Ali Taub?
In favor.
Jana Taub?
In favor.
Julie Thumb?
In favor.
Joe Tulamello?
Absent.
Sandy Vallis?
In favor.
Barbara Vellucci?
In favor. In
Thank
favor.
Lori Willis?
In favor.
Michael G?
In favor.
Okay, the roll is concluded. It passes.
The motion carries. Thank you.
And I would just like to make a comment that the zoning committee meeting was called to order at 7 p.m. and adjourned at 7:19, which is a record for the zoning and land use committee. Thank you all.
Thank you, Doris. I would like to now circle back to the public session and see if Councilman Justin Brannan would like to say a few words.
What did we have? There was a zoning meeting before we started?
No, it was last week.
Well, everything went very quickly, and so we started the public session. You happen to be the only elected speaking today, so we just skipped to the next item and came back to you.
Oh,
so
okay.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, come on. I wouldn't miss it for the world. I'll be really quick. Just wanted to say hi to everybody. I miss you guys. Hope everyone is safe and healthy and taking care of themselves. This is remains a very anxious time for our city, for our country, for all the reasons, including just a lack of leadership from the top down. And it's a very tough time to be a lowly local elected official like me, where the leaders up top make big pronouncements, and then we have to kind of sort out what it means locally. But I do want to acknowledge that since we last met, there were a bunch of protests in the neighborhood, and they were all very positive, and many of them were led by youth, by young people, which is very inspiring to see. It's a shame that we have to put that peaceful qualifier before the word protest these days, but that's the world that we're in right now. But all the protests in the neighborhood were peaceful. There was no looting or vandalism or anything like that. And that's something that I'm very proud of. I'm very proud to see that there's activism here, but folks are doing it in a constructive way, not a destructive way. I think this moment calls for us all to dig deep and harness our compassion and our ability to listen to folks who have different experiences than we do. And that's how we're going to build a better city and a better nation. And I've been locked inside budget negotiations, and the city is facing a $9 to $15 billion budget hole because of COVID. So there's going to be a lot of very, very tough budget decisions that are going to have to be made. It's not going to be pretty, and we're already seeing the effects of it down to, the grass in our park is 7 feet tall and the garbage cans are overflowing. So we're going to do everything. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that the baseline city services are funded. Obviously, public education is a huge, huge issue. Making sure that cuts aren't made. Cuts are made across the board, but cuts that don't affect our kids in the classrooms. Trying to dig into some of the waste. And some of the bloat that's in this budget and that's been in this budget. City's been spending like drunken sailors, and it's time to make saving money sexy again. It's not easy. I'm usually one of the only people in the room saying it, but here we are. So there's going to be a lot of tough decisions made, but we're doing our best to make sure that the safety net is not affected for our most vulnerable, and certainly that basic city services continue in our city. So I appreciate everyone reaching out and really just trying to do our best through this very combustible time. But appreciate seeing you guys, and thanks for letting me come on and say hello. And I'll let you get back to business. Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Hussam has his hand up.
I think someone has a question for Councilman?
Sure.
No. Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Okay. So moving on to the next item is the chair's report, my report. So welcome all. A lot has happened since we met in May. Our community continues to be faced with challenges that develop and evolve at a rate with which we all struggle to keep a pace, both in terms of comprehension and emotion. And during this unprecedented health emergency, we've seen terrible acts of injustice, which acts we can only wish were also unprecedented. The myriad pressures brought to bear on us during this time have caused an eruption of crises for help, change, and for justice. Our elected officials strain to obtain reliable information to make informed decisions, often with little guidance, and they struggle to rapidly provide answers to so many who need them. No one has been afforded the luxury of time to analyze and digest what has been happening, yet we're called upon to take decisive action and provide solutions. I have spoken with many people, and it is amazing to hear how some are quite certain that we're at the end of this crisis of health, economics, and inequality, while others are equally as certain that the end is nowhere in sight. The problem is that the price of taking the wrong course of action is high. It could mean someone's life, as we've seen. So what do we do? Well, I believe you can never be wrong doing the right thing. I've seen a lot of people in our community doing the right thing. We've followed the laws and the rules. We've acted to protect ourselves and others from this virus. We've stayed inside, worn masks, kept apart from others. We've protested boldly and peacefully. We've cheered for those who have been selfless, and we've grieved together. We've been respectful and caring toward one another. And as a board, we've committed to work throughout in conjunction with our elected officials. It's in hard times when you see what someone is made of, and I think that we are made of the right stuff. And I am so proud of how our community and as individuals have handled these challenges. So as we progress, let's be sure that we both as a community and as individuals continue to do the right thing and show what we're made of. We continue to follow the laws and the executive orders. For those reopening businesses, trying to provide for their families, do the right thing by following the law, enforcing social distancing, and staying mindful that your business decisions affect someone else's family, someone else's life. For those who are socializing in groups, do the right thing by erring on the side of caution, remembering your actions impact us all. We know this virus spreads blindly and exponentially. Your actions can mean life or death to someone else. We can all do the right thing by being fair, considerate, and respectful to one another. And maybe by the time this board returns from hiatus, we will return to something close to the old normal, but with a greater caring and respect for all. We will be working on extending the current right to continue to hold our meetings remotely so we can ensure that we remain safe until it's possible for all of us to meet in person again. And I want to thank you all for continuing to rise to the challenge, and I wish you all a safe and healthy summer. Respectfully submitted. That's my report. So I'd like to move on to the district manager's report. Josephine?
Thank you, Lori. So first, I want to thank Lori for your wonderful report and for your leadership this past year as chair of the board. Can't believe a whole year has gone by, as well as our officers who will be voted on later on this evening. So I want to take this opportunity to also welcome our new board members who were appointed by the borough president and express my appreciation for your service on behalf of all of us. So welcome to new board members Chris Ellison, Marissa Perez, and Wei Jing Leo. Welcome. So yes, as Lori said, we are in a very challenging time in our city's history, and together, we will work and accomplish great things. It'll be challenging economically. As Lori said earlier, we are just very proud of so many wonderful organizations and residents who have stepped up during this time to really help out. I want to give a shout out to the Arab American Association and our board member and co-founder Habib Judeh, who invited me this month to help out in the food distribution, which was incredibly touching to see, and really just incredible experience to be with so many good volunteers and meet and greet residents in our community. So grateful for the food distribution services throughout our community. I wanted to update everyone on some updates that were provided to the office over the month. The 79th Street overpass, New York State DOT overpass, which many of you may have seen. The temporary bridge is taken down, and it looks like very soon the finishing touches will be completed, and that project will be successfully completed and done. And we await word on the Fort Hamilton Parkway overpass, which is in poor condition. The Department of Design and Construction is currently working on a water main installation project on 66th and 67th Streets from 8th to 9th Avenues this week. The 86th Street elevator project is near completion and should be open by summer of 2020. I wanted to also thank Mark Moss for hosting us these past few months and truly helping us when we were thrust into the virtual meeting world. Your training and assistance is very greatly appreciated. And it looks like this is going to be our forum for some time. The Street Activity Permit Office, this is the office that regulates block parties and street events, has not been able yet to provide guidance on block parties July through September. We are anxiously awaiting word, and I'll be sure to keep the board informed. We are getting many calls from local residents who are interested in having street closures with social distancing as a way to just really, get outside a little bit after being, inside for several months during the stay-at-home order. So I don't have an update on that, but I will keep you all apprised. Also, the MTA Bridges and Tunnels Authority is currently working on two projects, as you may know, in the district. The Gowanus project is widening the Fort Hamilton Parkway exit. So construction now is exclusively taking place behind barriers. Work was shifted to daytime, so that's a big help. And drilling work, although noise producing, will be limited to only daytime. The deck replacement and concrete repair work is now shifted to overnight hours due to rising traffic volume as we enter phase one of the reopening. And unfortunately, there will be noise producing work on the overnights. It's something that we're monitoring and working closely with the TBTA, and I certainly will keep you updated as we get announcements. And if you haven't already, and I'm speaking to new board members here too tonight, please like us on social media. Brian's going to give a report later, but we really are trying to expand our social media presence. We are up to 200 page likes. We'd like to be up to 2,000 by the fall. So hopefully in my next report, I can share that good word. And we've gotten some valuable input from members of the communication committee. So we're hoping that we can accomplish this goal. And our next general board meeting is going to take place on Monday, September 15th at Shore Hill, maybe, but most likely on, I'm sorry, I read that before I caught myself. Most likely we'll be on a virtual platform, but if anything changes, we will certainly let you know, but please mark your dates for Monday, September 15th. Thank you.
Thank you, Josephine. And for all your work during this year, which of course continues throughout the summer for you.
Yeah.
Okay, now we move on to the treasurer's report, which will be distributed with the minutes in the interest of time. So we're moving on to our Police and Public Safety Committee report with Barbara Vellucci. Barbara.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Beautiful. So lean back, take your shoes off. We had a very interesting meeting. So our meeting was on June 10th of, this year at 7 p.m. on a Zoom. And there was an application for a new liquor license for wine, beer, and cider submitted for Luann's Coffee Bar, Inc., located on the first floor of 7405 3rd Avenue. The attorney is Anthony Caraballo. And the principals for this establishment are Louis A. Garcia Maldonado, Vice President, and Bridget Garcia, applicant. They are brother and sister. The hours of operation are listed as Monday through Wednesday, 8 a.m. through 12 a.m. Music from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. The kitchen from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. Thursday, 8 a.m. to 2 a.m., music, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m., kitchen, 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. Friday and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. Music from 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. That's an hour after they officially close. The kitchen from 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. Sunday, 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. Music 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. Kitchen from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. The anticipated persons occupying the premises are 50. In the application, the owners noted that they will not be promotional events or private parties. They will not be hired security. There will be DJ and background music used. In addition, it was acknowledged that the doors and windows will remain closed when music is on and will follow NYC noise regulations. There will be no outdoor space used. What was noted in writing on the application is not what has been in practice from at least since September 2019. Photos of the interior were included and showed tables and chairs stacked. Countertops are bare, and there are photos of doors and hallways with several places under repair. There is no image of what this establishment will look like as a finished product. A PowerPoint slide presentation aided this report. New York City building inspectors responded to a complaint on September 2019 as a soundboard was being installed without a permit. No violation was found as a permit was not needed for this work. It is noted that in a letter to Councilman Brennan, a resident reported that the board was to prevent anyone from looking into the establishment from the outside. Another resident, and she was also complaining about the noise through the wee hours of the morning. Another resident participating in the Zoom meeting stated that the noise, including loud music and karaoke, is unbearable well past 2 a.m. She also stated that the board is used to obstruct the view into the establishment from the outside. It is not for sound. In addition, she stated that you cannot see into the windows. New York City building inspectors attempted to gain access to the premises on February 25th and 26th of this year regarding the lack of a building permit for construction. They could not gain access. There is no certificate of occupancy included, and it is stated that this mixed-use building does not have one. Adverse history for this establishment. New York City open data. 311 calls from 2010 to the present. One call in 2011 for double parking. There have been 20 calls from September 2019 through January 31st, 2020. Some calls are numerous on the same evenings. For all of these 20 calls, the complaint is loud music and partying. Some of these calls were made as late as 12:37 a.m. This is after the soundboard installation inspection. This was also provided to us from Captain Conwell of the 6-8 Precinct Police Department. And this will be the following report that I gathered from what the Captain Conwell sent to us. And the first is an email dated from the captain on January 3rd, 2020. The precinct conducted 2 visits there, observing alcohol on both occasions. Now, mind you, this is Luann's coffee shop. The precinct inspected the business and found a fully stocked bar. The owner failed to produce receipts and records for the alcohol. Our police captain informed us that this is a storefront operating as a bar, unlawfully selling alcohol, and as a party hall nightclub, mostly on weekends. This establishment is not licensed by the SLA. It is supposed to be a coffee bar. January 3rd, 2020 is the date of the second inspection. Multiple summonses were issued regarding unlawful dealings with alcohol, and much alcohol was destroyed by law enforcement. He also provided us with additional adverse incidents regarding this premise. On February 1, 2020, there were 2 arrests following a serious physical altercation between patrons at this unlicensed premise. Upon police arrival, it was evident that alcohol was being sold, minors were consuming alcohol, thereby endangering the welfare of these minors. There were no receipts or records of the business for inspection. The use of marijuana was witnessed, and the taser and pepper spray were recovered. There was blood and evidence of a fight and destruction to property. The owner, Mr. Garcia, and the patron were both arrested. Our new police captain, Captain Tolson, and officers Pane Pinto and Inger Brethson participated in this meeting through Zoom, reiterating Captain Conwell's written report. Miss Bridget Garcia and Mr. Luis Garcia Maldonado, brother and sister, were present at this Zoom. They were given an opportunity to speak. Bridget was the spokesperson for this establishment. She stated that she is sorry for what happened and said that that inexperience is the cause of these events. She says that she takes responsibility. The committee questioned her further regarding the repeated complaints, noise, promoted events, illegal use of alcohol, and the need for police intervention. She was aware of the problems, and the owner of the property was aware. Bridget Garcia informed us that the premise was subletted. In actuality, she later stated that it was sublet out to several different persons who were sponsoring promoted events. To the committee, the excuse of inexperience was not accepted. The committee stated clearly that we wholeheartedly support our local businesses, but it is unacceptable to disregard New York state laws by selling alcohol without a license, endanger the welfare of minors, to continually disrupt the quality of life of our community, and to show blatant disregard to the essence of this family-oriented neighborhood. In sum, in consideration of the fact that there is no certificate of occupancy for this building, that we do not have photographs of what the actual establishment will look like, that the application submission has not included the New York City Building Inspector's resolution to the construction without a permit from this February, the disregard of the numerous 311 calls for the repeated complaints for noise for a year and a half with no remedy, and the knowing illegal, I'm sorry, that's wrong, since September, and the knowing illegal use of the establishment as a bar with the continued consumption and sale of alcohol without a license, including the need for 911 police intervention on several occasions, the committee voted to deny this application and to send a letter to the New York State Liquor Authority regarding the actions of these owners. We ask that the board move to approve our recommendation.
Okay, so did you meet in quorum, Barbara?
Oh, sorry. Yes, we did.
Okay. So that means the motion is on the floor. And so I open it up to discussions. Do we have any questions or comments with regard to this application? Do we have any hands up, Mark?
None that I see.
Not a question. We're very quiet tonight. Okay, so no questions, no comments. We will call the question.
Yes,
Oh, I'm sorry, Larry, go ahead.
you said there was no C of O
Correct.
at all, period. There never was or expired or?
They just said that the building has no C of O.
I mean, it's possible it was built pre-CO, which is common in the area, but yeah. Okay, any other questions?
Julie has her hand up.
Go ahead.
Does the establishment also own the building?
No, they do not.
No.
Okay, good. All right, so they're assuming they are out, then they have some sort of a lease or something, I assume, with the owner, with the landlord.
They do.
All right, so they just have to shut down the business, but they can open up another business theoretically then, or no?
Well, the police are sending a letter to the SLA regarding them for an alcohol license, and we will also. I mean, it originally came up as a coffee bar, not as a nightclub.
Right, and this doesn't preclude them from opening a coffee bar. Tonight we're voting exclusively on the liquor license application.
So maybe
Stephen has his hand up. Sorry.
Steve Harrison?
Hey, I'm just wondering, remind me how long this place has been open?
The complaints begin in September.
September.
Of what year?
2019.
And when was the premise open?
As a coffee shop or?
Since September.
Julie's.
Since September.
September of 19, and the first complaints came in when?
September of 19.
Forget it. I mean, I'm surprised we're even letting them open as a coffee shop. Thank you.
Okay, Steve has said his piece. Does anyone else have anything to add to that?
I have
any comments? Yes, Diane.
So if this place does not have a C of O, how can anything operate there? How can any establishment have, operate there without a C of O?
Well, a lot of buildings were built before the time when the city started issuing certificates of occupancy. Normally, what they get is a letter from the Department of Buildings, basically a letter of no objection stating that it's okay to use the building in such and such manner.
As long as it's zoning compliant, typically a letter of no objection is issued, and that's utilized for the state liquor authority submission.
Okay. Anybody else? Oh, what?
Doesn't look like it.
All right, thank you.
Me, Doris.
Oh, you, Doris. Hi, Doris.
Okay. Have they applied for the letter about the CO, or did they just blow that off too?
Just said none is available on the application.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so any other questions or comments? Mark, do we have anybody with a hand up? No?
We
Okay.
we do not.
Excellent. So let's call the question. Again, we have to do a roll call vote because we are on this Zoom format. So Josephine, if you would be so kind.
Yes, thank you. Tracy Britton? In favor. Jane Kapitanakis? In favor. Shirley Chin?
Absent, I believe.
Okay, Judy Collins? Judith Collins? All right, maybe we'll get back to Judy. Maybe she's having trouble with her audio.
I don't see the name anywhere.
Okay, we might have lost her. Doris Cruz?
In favor.
Ida D'Amelio?
In favor.
Richard Day? Michael Devine?
In favor.
Chris Elsian?
In favor.
Ann Falutico?
In favor.
Carmen Feliciano?
I believe she's absent.
Okay. Michael Festa?
Yes, in favor.
Carmen is here.
Oh, Carmen, I'm sorry.
Carmen, but you're muted. There you go.
Okay. Got it?
Yes. Carmen, how do you vote?
In favor.
Thank you. Barbara Germack?
In favor.
Diane Granardis?
In favor.
Steve Griffith? I believe he's absent.
Absent.
Judy Grimaldi? Judy's on, but she's having trouble with her audio. So she texted me. Okay, Steve Harrison?
Aye.
Thank you. Dan Heddix?
In favor.
Thank you, Dan. John Heffernan?
In favor.
Justin Hyatt?
In favor.
Jill Hajar?
In favor.
Thank you, Jill. June is absent. Habib Juday?
In favor?
Brian Kazuba?
Aye.
Stella Kokolas?
In favor.
Thank you. Marty Lentz?
In favor.
Wei Jing Leo?
In favor.
Nick Leonardos?
In favor.
Stephanie Mahaney?
In favor.
Ryan Mahoney?
In favor.
Anthony Marino,
Aye.
Ruth Mazer. Ruth? I know she was here.
In favor.
Thank you, Ruth. Nick Masab? Nick? I know he's here.
Nick, you're muted.
In favor. In favor.
Thank you. Iris Muley?
In favor.
Marissa Perez?
In favor.
Susan Pulaski?
In favor.
Dean is absent. Dr. O'Malley? Joe is absent. Larry Stelter? Larry? I know he's here.
He's
Larry?
muted. You're muted.
Yeah, what happened to the screen? No, I don't see anybody on the screen anymore.
Well, we see you, Larry. How do you vote?
In favor.
Thank you. Henry Stewart?
In favor.
Ali Taub?
In favor.
Jana Taub?
In favor.
Julie Thumb?
In favor.
Thank you, Julie. Sandy Vallis?
In favor.
Barbara Vellucci?
In favor.
Lori Willis?
In favor.
Michael G?
In favor.
And that concludes the roll call.
No, wait, Judy Grimaldi's texting me. She can't get her, excuse me. Judy Grimaldi's texting. She's in favor. She can't get her sound on.
Okay, thank you.
And Judy
Thank
Collins,
you.
did we get her vote?
Judy Collins? I did not get her vote.
Yeah, I'm in favor.
Oh, thank you, Judy. Thank you. That concludes the roll.
Okay, thank you very much. So moving on to the next item on our Police and Public Safety Committee agenda, Barbara?
Thought you were going to leave me.
Never.
The second out of three is O'Sullivan's Pub and Grub Limited, located at 8902 3rd Avenue. And it has applied for an alteration to the already existing liquor, beer, wine, and cider license that is already in operation. The establishment corporation name is O'Sullivan's Pub and Grub LLC. The principals are Bernadette O'Sullivan and John O'Donnell. The attorney representing this establishment was Mr. Terrence Flynn Jr. This establishment is known as a bar tavern. The application for the construction was filed on February 7th, 2020. It has been administratively closed to do inactivity on April 7th, 2020. The job description, this project consists of an interior renovation of the bar restaurant area and the residential units on the second floor. Removal and replacement of all bar counters to its same location, alignment of the floors and ceiling height, new roof hatch and skylight. No change is proposed to the building use, occupancy, bulk, or footprint. The box was checked off, certifying that all construction documents related to this application do not require a new or amended certificate of occupancy, as there is no change in use, exits, or occupancy. This application was incomplete in its entirety on the date of the meeting. In the method of operation, it did note that there is the use of video arcade, jukebox, and security. It noted that the business area is on the main floor and the basement. There is no outdoor use. The community board office had not heard from the representative regarding this alteration, and that was lawyer Terrence Flynn Jr. The district office reached out to the attorney numerous times, beginning on March 9th, 2020, stating that unless they complete the questionnaire and attend a hearing, a letter would be sent to deny this application. No contact, communication, or follow-up had been made until the day of this meeting, which was June 10th. The owner's daughter apologized as there was a lack of communication with this attorney. Annie Sullivan, the daughter of Bernadette O'Sullivan, did participate in this Zoom meeting. Also present was the contractor, Matthew Bell. We were assured that all necessary documents are available. and they were delivered to the community board office within the next 2 days. So by Friday, we had everything. The new attorney is Justin Daly of the law firm of Connors and Sullivan. Available are the floor plans, menu, and certificate of occupancy. The premise has 30 seats, 10 tables, and room for 15 at the bar. Anticipated occupants is 50 persons. There is no adverse history to this establishment. The application for an alteration of the SLA license is necessary as there are structural changes to the establishment. The construction will include renovations to the bar and the placement of the staircase from the middle of the premise to the back so as to not cut the bar in half and to open up space. Mr. Bell informed us that the construction will take approximately 6 months. Ms. O'Sullivan was asked as to the veracity of the rumor that the second floor was going to be turned into a wine bar. She emphatically denied this and stated that she has also heard this rumor as well as others. The committee moved to deny this application unless the following stipulations were agreed to. The premises will operate as a restaurant. There will be no sale or consumption of alcohol on the premises until the appropriate license is issued or renewed. The C of O is on hand. The owner or manager will be on site during all hours of operation. The hours of operation will be as the following: Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., kitchen from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Sunday, 12 p.m. to 2 a.m., and the kitchen from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. The applicant will not sublet the premise. The doors and windows are to remain closed in coordination with any amplified music. The background recorded music remain below the level permitted by New York City Noise Code. There will be no music on the outside of the premises. The applicant shall not sponsor or use any promoter or have promoted events. There will be no smoking permitted. If need be, New York State certified security will be hired and on site during all hours of operation, but they have never needed that. There will be no smoking, and the applicant agrees that should it change its method of operation, it will give notice and meet with the community board and committee at least 45 days in advance of any such change. And the owner has agreed to all stipulations. We ask that the board move to approve the committee's recommendation.
Okay, so the committee met in quorum, so the motion is on the floor. I'm going to call on myself first. What were the hours of operation? Because I think you said they went through 2 p.m. And if I heard that correctly, I think maybe it meant 2 a.m.
Let me check. Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
p.m. That's a short day.
Yeah, it's a short day. I want that job. 2 a.m. Thank you, miss.
So it is 2 a.m.
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right.
Duly noted.
Just a question.
One letter difference you caught. A, B.
All right. Anybody? Does anyone else have a hand up, Mark?
And does.
Barbara, you mentioned that there was commercial in the cellar. Is it correct that that is ordinary boiler room storage kind of commercial use? Or is there
an office? They're not using it as part of the business.
No.
Okay, so it's not part of the bar restaurant.
No.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Rustam?
No, thank you.
Oh, okay. Anyone else?
Doesn't appear to be.
Okay, so I will call the question. The one thing I would like to say is, if while Josephine is doing the roll call, someone is having a hard time with their audio, maybe they can give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Okay, so thumbs up for, thumbs down again. Maybe it'll move things a little more quickly. So Joe.
Okay.
Take it away.
Tracy Britton. In favor. Jane Kapitanakis.
In favor.
Judy Collins. Do you see a thumbs up?
I don't see anything.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Doris Cruz.
In favor.
Ida D'Amelio.
In favor.
Richard Day. Oh, I think he's absent.
In
Michael
favor.
Devine? Oh, it's that. Okay, I'm sorry. Got you, Richard. Michael Devine? Michael?
In favor.
Thank you. Chris Ellison?
Ellison, in favor.
Ellison? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chris. Ann Filippo?
In favor.
Carmen Feliciano? Carmen?
Carmen, you're muted. There you go.
Yeah, can you hear me now? In favor.
Yes. Thank you. Michael Festa?
In favor.
Barbara Gurmak?
In favor.
Diane Granardis?
In favor.
Steve Griffith? I think he's absent. Judy Grimaldi? Oh, her audio's not working. We'll wait for her text. Steve Harrison?
Aye.
Thank you. Dan Heddix?
In favor.
Thank you, Dan. John Heffernan?
Aye.
Thank you. Justin Hyatt?
In favor.
Okay, thanks. Jill Hajar?
In favor.
Thank you. June is absent. Habib Juday?
I do.
Thank you. Brian Kazuba?
Aye.
Stella Kokolas?
In favor.
Marty Lentz?
In favor.
Waging Leo?
In favor.
Nick Leonardos?
In favor.
Stephanie Mahaney?
In favor.
Ryan Mahoney?
In favor.
Anthony Marino?
In favor.
Ruth Mazer?
In favor.
Nick Masab? Nick? Nick, is your audio on?
His audio is not on. Oh, there it goes.
Okay, there he goes. Okay, great. Iris Millet?
In favor.
Marissa Perez?
In favor.
Susan Pulaski? Dr. O'Malley?
In favor.
Larry Stelter? Larry?
In favor?
Thank you, Larry. Henry Stewart?
In favor.
Ali Taub?
In favor.
Janet Taub?
In favor.
Julie Thumb? Julie?
In favor.
Sandy Vallis?
In favor.
Barbara Bellucci? Lori Willis?
In favor.
Michael G? Thank you. So that concludes.
And Judy Grimaldi votes in favor.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the roll.
Okay, thank you. Now, Barbara, last item on the agenda.
Yes, I just gotta tell you, Julie, you keep cracking, keep a straight face with that mask on. I'll keep a straight face. Every time I look at her, I start laughing. Please, I can't look at her. Okay,
I'm laughing.
Come on. The last one is just informational. The Body Brothers Corporation, located at 6752 4th Avenue. Stop what you get. I'm covering her. They notified the community board that they would be applying for an SLA wine beer cider license. The applicant was not prepared since the establishment is still undergoing construction. Therefore, they decided to delay this application and attend the CB10 hearing at the Police and Public Safety Committee in September. And that was just for informational purposes for you only, since they were supposed to be part of that meeting the other night. All respectfully submitted.
Thank you, Barbara. I want to thank you for all the work that you've done this year, because I really did pull you into this kicking and screaming, and you did a great job. And I want to thank you
so much.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Budget and Personnel Committee, and Sandy Vallis will be delivering that report in Dean Rossinia's absence. Sandy.
Okay, thank you, Laurie. Hello, everybody. The Budget and Personnel Committee held a Zoom meeting in quorum on Wednesday, May 20th, 2020 at 7 p.m. with the following members present: Brian Kazuba, Barbara Vellucci, Sandy Valles, Barbara Germack, and Chairman Dean Rosinia. Also present were Dorothy Garuccio and District Manager Josephine Beckman. The purpose of the meeting was to allocate funds remaining for the fiscal year 2020 budget and propose a fiscal year 2021 budget for Community Board 10. Item number one, due to the coronavirus, there were unspent funds for the other than personnel services category totaling $2,248.26 and unspent funds from the City Council Grant Fund of $3,213.94 for a total unspent funds of $5,462.20. A motion was made by Barbara Vellucci and seconded by Brian Kazuba to spend the total of $5,462.20 in unspent funds for fiscal year 2020 budget for deep cleaning and disinfecting the district office and printing of military pamphlets and printing of senior pamphlets. The motion passed unanimously. The following fiscal year 2021 budget for the other than personal services and personal services for the Community Board 10 is proposed. Note, all community board budgets were decreased by $8,712, leaving the Community Board 10 with $248,795 for the fiscal year 2021 budget. Brooklyn Community Board 10 proposed fiscal year 2021 budget. Personnel services, full year salary for 3 positions, $207,144. Hourly salary for 1 position, $26,611, and a college aid for $1,500. Total personal services budget, $235,255. Other than personnel services, office supplies, $2,000. Water and water cooler, $100. Storehouse items from New York City, $400. Security equipment, $540. Intracity telephone, $2,544. Rental equipment, $2,500. Constant contact, $600. Telecom maintenance, $510. Temp services, $1,996. Cleaning services, $2,350. Total for the other than personnel services, $13,540. Total fiscal year 2021 budget, excluding rent and energy, $248,795. A motion was made by Brian Kazuba, seconded by Barbara Germack, to recommend the proposed budget to the full board for Community Board 10. The motion passed unanimously. Respectfully submitted for Dean Rosinia, me.
Okay, so now you just gave us a report for each for the fiscal year 2020, the remaining, and also fiscal year 2021, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, just because they were on the agenda as 2 items.
Okay.
I'm just got, yeah, but the committee met in quorum. So because it's on the agenda as 2 items, I'll just do the review of the fiscal year 2020 budget first.
Okay.
So are there any questions? It was, the committee met in quorum, so the motion's on the floor. Are there any questions, comments for Sandy?
Brian?
Go ahead, Brian.
Point of order, could we actually vote on these together in one vote rather than bifurcated?
I do understand that would be best in interest of time. However, for purposes of clarity, for purposes of city, I prefer to do them separately. I want 100% clarity on what the board is voting on. Have been some issues raised in the past with regard to what the board votes on, and it is important that this be documented for those purposes. So I would like to just, if we can do it quickly, I understand it does take time, but it is important. So I would like to put the fiscal year 2020 budget on the floor. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so Joe, can you do the roll call?
Yes. Tracy Britton? Tracy? I can't hear. Tracy, are you able, do you have audio on? Okay, I'll move on. Jane Kapitanakis?
In favor?
Shirley Chin, I think she's absent. Judy Collins? Judy?
Hold on. Try now.
Favor.
Thank you. Doris Cruz?
Favor.
Ida D'Amelio?
In favor.
Richard Day?
In favor.
Michael Devine?
In favor.
Chris Ellison?
In favor.
Ann Falutico?
In favor.
Carmen Feliciano? Carmen?
In favor?
Michael Festa?
In favor.
Barbara Gurmack?
In favor?
Diane Granardis?
In favor?
Steve Griffiths?
He's not here.
He's not. Judy Grimaldi?
She's in favor.
Okay. Steve Harrison?
Aye.
Dan Heddix?
In favor.
John Heffernan?
Aye.
Justin Hyatt?
In favor.
Jill Hajar?
In favor.
Habib Judah? Habib?
In favor, in favor.
Yeah. Brian Kazuba?
Do you see my picture or no?
I see you, Habib, yes. Lovely, thank you.
Aye.
Thank you, Brian. Stella Kokolas? In favor. Marty Lentz?
In favor.
Wei Jing Leo?
In favor.
Nick Leonardos?
In favor.
Stephanie Mahaney?
In favor.
Ryan Mahoney?
In favor.
Anthony Marino?
In favor.
Ruth Mazer?
In favor.
Assad? Nick? Nick?
In favor.
Iris Muley?
In favor.
Marissa Perez?
In favor.
Susan Pulaski?
Favor.
Dr. O'Malley? Dr. O'Malley? Okay, maybe I lost him. Larry Stelter?
In favor.
Henry Stewart?
In favor.
Ali Taub?
In favor.
Janet Taub?
I don't know if you guys hear me, but yeah, in favor.
Thank you, Janet. Julie Thumb?
In favor.
Sandy Vallis?
In favor.
Barbara Vellucci? Barbara? I think we lost Barbara.
No, you didn't.
Oh, you there? Okay. I didn't hear you.
Ding.
Thank you.
My host muted me. I'm in favor.
Thank you. Lori Willis?
In favor.
Michael G?
In favor.
Okay, I think that concludes Dr. O'Malley. Just, I didn't get his vote.
And Tracy.
And Tracy Britton.
Tracy.
Tracy,
Tracy
get back
over.
in.
Tracy's in favor. She lost her, but she's back. Okay, so Tracy's in favor. Thank you.
What about Dr. Ramawi?
No, I see him on, but I think he might be having trouble with his audio. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, so hate to drag you through it again, but we're going to do this again for the 2021 budget. So that motion is on the floor. So Joe, do we have any questions or comments with regard to the 2021 budget? Okay, so call the question. Josephine, go ahead.
Okay, Tracy Britton? In favor. Thank you. Jane Kapitanakis? In favor. Shirley Chin, I think she's absent. Judy Collins? Judith? In favor. Thank you. Doris Cruz?
In favor.
Ida D'Amelio?
In favor.
Richard Day?
In favor.
Michael Devine?
In favor.
Chris Ellison?
In favor.
Ann Falutico? Ann? Can't hear Ann. We may have lost her.
She's muted.
Okay.
There you go.
Ann?
In favor.
Thank you. Carmen Feliciano? Carmen? Is she muted?
Carmen, in favor?
Thank you. Michael Festa?
In favor.
Barbara Germack?
In favor.
Diane Granardis?
In favor.
Steve Griffith is absent. Judy Grimaldi?
Oh, let's see. I'm sorry. In favor.
Thank you. Steve Harrison?
Aye.
Thank you. Dan Heddix?
In favor.
Thanks. John Heffernan?
Aye.
Justin Hyatt?
In favor.
Jill Hajar?
In favor.
June Johnson?
Absent.
Habib Judah?
In favor.
Brian Kazuba?
Aye.
Stella Kokolas?
In favor.
Marty Lentz?
In favor.
Wei Jing Leo?
In favor.
Nick Leonardos?
In favor.
Stephanie Mahaney?
In favor.
Ryan Mahoney?
In favor.
Ryan? Thank you. Anthony Marino?
In favor.
Ruth Mazer?
In favor.
Nick Masab?
In favor.
Iris Muley?
In favor.
Marissa Perez?
In favor.
Susan Pulaski?
Favor.
Dean Rossinia?
Absent.
Absent. Dr. Ramawi? Oh, I think we lost him. Larry Stelter?
In favor.
Henry Stewart?
In favor.
Ali Tao?
In favor.
Janet Tao?
In favor.
Julie Thom?
In favor.
Sandy Vallis?
In favor.
Barbara Vellucci?
In favor.
Lori Willis?
In favor.
Michael G?
In favor.
Thank you. That concludes the roll.
Okay, thank you. I called for 2 votes on that because I want this to be clear. There's been there were not so far back, there was some confusion about boards and personnel actions, and I don't want it to be any mistakes and our lovely staff and the people who are dedicated to our office for some reason not get paid. So I wanted that to be clear. That was my reason for that. So moving on, we have the Communications and Public Relations Committee report by Brian Kazuba. Brian?
Thank you, Laurie. Thank you, everyone. So the Communications and Public Relations Committee met on May 27th at 7 p.m. on WebEx. We met in quorum. So we had one topic. We're updating on the committee board's launching of Facebook and Instagram. The committee met to discuss and review committee board's launch of its Facebook and Instagram accounts. Both were launched on April 29th. The successful launches were done with the help of Christina Medina, the CEO and founder of CM Brand, and Lizzie Young, a paid college aide from St. Francis who works in the district office. Since we have launched our pages, we presently have about 201 Facebook followers and 150 Instagram followers. District Manager Beckman has done an excellent job maintaining and updating each page with content and information regularly. Lizzie Young has assisted Josephine with the page updates. The pages have been used to promote CB10's, CB10's public committee and full board meetings, and even have been used to live stream feed from our meetings. We have also shared information and announcements from city agencies and other local community organizations. During the meeting, we discussed ways that the committee can help support the work being done by the district office to keep these accounts active. We believe right now our main focus, needs to be promoting these pages and boosting the number of followers. We encourage everyone on the board who has Facebook or Instagram accounts to follow CB10 and share the pages with everyone on your contact list and encourage them to do the same. Even if you do not have personal social media accounts, you can still promote these pages by encouraging people you know to follow CB10. In addition, many of us are active in other organizations and businesses that may have social media, and we can use these organizations to help promote our own page. In order to find CB10 on Facebook and Instagram, you can search using the name Community Board 10BK. That's all one word, Community Board 10BK. And then you can search and find us and like us and share us. In addition to the committees promoting our pages to contacts, local businesses, and organizations, we're planning to think of creative ways to use the CB10 social media to promote positive stories in our community and share important information that's useful to all residents. Communication and the dissemination of accurate and timely information has never been more important than it is right now in a COVID-19 world. CB10, thanks in large part to the leadership of Josephine with the help of her district staff, has always been viewed as a trusted source of objective, non-biased information. Being able to grow our social media presence only helps achieve the goal of reaching larger audiences quicker. CB10 can help dispel much of the inaccurate information and propaganda that often floods social media news outlets. The committee will continue to work to support our social media efforts and look at other ways to promote the great work that we as a board do and that the community should be aware of. Thank you, and I hope everyone remains safe and healthy. May you all have a wonderful summer. I look forward to hopefully seeing you in person this fall. The meeting was adjourned at 8 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Brian Kazuba, Chair of the committee, and we met in quorum.
Okay, thank you very much, Brian. That was an informational report, so we don't need a vote. I want to thank you for all of your efforts in getting our Facebook page up, because it was something that was in a long time in the works. So I thank you for that. And everyone, please like our Facebook page. We need likes. So moving on to the next item on the agenda, the nominating committee. I would like to thank the nominating committee, by the way, for their work and for their nomination. And it's chaired by Judy Grimaldi, who, are we still missing Judy? Is she able to log in? Okay. Call on the secretary to cast one vote in favor of the slate. So, secretary?
I do hereby cast one vote for the slate proposed.
Okay. Since Judy isn't here, I'll read the slate.
Yes.
According to the agenda, the slate as presented for the fiscal year 2021 is presented by the nominating committee at the May 18th, 2020 board meeting is as follows. Chair Lori Willis, Vice Chair Jane Marie Kapitanakis, Secretary Sandy Vallis, and Treasurer Brian Kazuba. So, Secretary, thank you for casting your vote, and now it's on the floor. Joe?
Yes?
Do we have anything from Judy?
No, that was it, Lori. I think just the casting of the one ballot and that concludes it. So
Yep.
there's no vote.
So then that's the official ballot.
Yes.
And that brings to a close our meeting, our last meeting before we go on summer hiatus, except for, do we have any old business? Would anyone
So
like-
Lori, I do really quick. I misspoke in my report. Our next board meeting is September 21st. So we have even a longer break because I shortened it by a week, but September 21st will be the next board meeting for CB10.
Okay, location.
To be determined, yes.
Either Shore Hill or somewhere in the ether. Okay, any other old business? Anyone? Okay, any new?
Judy would like everybody to know that she's with us, but she just has a faulty connection and can't do audio.
Okay.
Thank you.
Judy. And thank you for all your work on the nominating committee. Do I hear someone else with old business?
Yeah, just have a really nice summer, everyone.
Enjoy the summer.
Okay, and do we have any new business?
That's right here.
Larry?
No, I sent an email to Dorothy about this. Seems to be, I don't know if you can hear out the window here. Bay Ridge Parkway and 4th Avenue has become a drag strip. I don't know, with all this lately. There's motorcycles, cars racing down the street all hours of the night and during the day. I mean, because there's less traffic, people just take advantage of it. They see an open road and they pedal, hit the floor. So it's been noticeable out here. I don't know if you can hear it out here, but there's quite a bit of.
No, Larry, we've gotten a few of these complaints, and we will certainly let the commander know. Thank you.
You also had my recusal also.
Yes. Yes, thank you.
One thing Josephine mentioned, giving this over to the commander, we do have a new commanding officer at the 68th precinct now. Captain Conwell, a lot of you, if you've, followed on the police department's social media, they really did a great job. They have impounded cars, drag racing, and we are just getting to know our new commanding officer, and we'll be alerting him to this and touching base with him in the not so distant future. Habib, yes, sir.
Barbara has her hand up.
Yes.
I have a question. Why do they keep switching captains? You get really comfortable with someone and they get to know your neighborhood, and like priests, they just make them move on. That's a problem.
It is customary that an average commander stays about 2 years.
I'm just saying that I personally feel as a community board member for a community, we should have better communication with the police department with everything that's going on. And I think that's something that we should address with the powers that be, that we need to keep people in the community that are connected to the community. I don't think they have to keep moving on after 2 years. So maybe we can address that at some other point in time as new business.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Barbara has her hand up.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, Jill, I agree with you that just as soon as the commander begins to become familiar with our neighborhood, they've moved on.
Exactly.
I guess that's something that I want to speak about. I jumped on this a little bit at the end of the last meeting when we were together. I was driving along Fifth Avenue in the 80s, Saturday night about 7:30, quite early, still bright and light out. And at least 2 or 3 of the bars there had like 20 people outside, drinking, hanging out, having a party, no masks. I don't think our commander or the police are there with us, but what is the plan? I mean, before you know it, we're going to be getting calls, 311, as the summer continues, of noise, smoking, people drinking in public. What are we doing with this?
So, Josephine, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I just want to let Barbara know, I mean, right before the Zoom meeting today, I did speak to the new commander, Captain Tolston, who apologized for not being able to be here tonight. But he did say he's doing outreach to all the SLA licensed establishments. He's going to be doing some proactive outreach following, weekend calls, and there was a spike in 311 calls, so we're on the same page there, and we will be following up, but he said they are doing proactive outreach.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Yeah,
Can I be
thank you.
unmuted?
So-
I want. Sorry. I just want to keep this going for just 5 more minutes. This is a big problem in the police department in general. We have to change the dialogue. And I feel that if you keep changing your captain, they're never going to get connected to the community. That's part of the problem with communities and their police departments. So I'm just saying that this is an issue that we as a community have to keep addressing as far as changing the way that we, protocol for police department. I mean, I don't know if that has to do with the mayor, the governor, but it's something that we have to keep in the dialogue for all of us as a community. I mean, would everyone agree, or am I just...
This is Steve Harrison, Jill. I'm listening to you, and I agree with you in many ways, but having been on the community board for a very long time, I can tell you that there's many captains I wish would never leave, but there's a few I wish were gone in less than a year. So be very careful what you wish for here. You just might get it.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be one or the other. It doesn't have to be like, it has to be an open dialogue constantly. It shouldn't be that 2 years go and you're gone. It should be like, oh, we appreciate you. We want you to stay on. It doesn't have to be black and white like everything else in the city. It's like black and white. Everything's a gray area. I think we need to have an open dialogue about how we can reform the police department within the community. And it doesn't have to be, you're here forever or you're not here. It just needs to be an open dialogue. So it's just something that I want everyone to think about, and then maybe we could revisit that at a later time.
Doris has her hand up.
Yeah, I would like to reaffirm Steve's comments. Some would like to have a really long time, and there are others that didn't need to go sooner. So we have to be very careful. Thank you.
Okay. Habib, I think you've
Two things, a comment on the police. I met with the new commander. He's a great guy. To be changed every 2 years, I think it's a good idea, because if they feel relaxed in the neighborhood, then things start going different ways. That's just my comment. Josephine, thank you very much for the commendation on the Arab American Association, and we were very glad to have you with us giving food away. One more item, the Islamic Society of Bay Ridge are giving meat boxes, 10 pounds of meat. I think it's on Friday, every Friday for the next 3 Fridays. If you put that, please, on our website, anybody would need. And if they cannot come out, give me the name. I will deliver myself.
Thank you, Habib. Anyone else?
Lori, I just wanted to mention really quickly, I missed in my report, is that we learned that our former district manager of Community Board 10, Mary Sempepos, passed away. So I just wanted to share that with board members, and we were just really saddened to hear that news. And if we get any more information about any memorials or remembrances, I will be sure to share with the board.
Do you know when
about a month ago.
Okay. Any other?
I have a comment.
I just wanted to say that Mary Sempepos was very important to our board. She was a great lady, and she will be missed.
Thank you, Steve. I'm sorry.
Senator Gennard is here now.
Wait. We need to be calling on people. I don't know who's sorry there.
Yeah, guys, can we use the raise hand function on Zoom? It'll make it a lot easier.
Okay, so who do you have, Mark?
I have nobody right now, but I'm sure there's somebody wanting. I'm going to mute.
I hear a voice. Just go ahead.
Hi, it's me, Dorothy. I'm talking to Judy, who's texting me. She's asking if we can appoint a task force to address this in sensitivity to the overall community concern. She's speaking about the captain.
Well, that's something we'll have to think about, and we'll have to get together and discuss as a board. I think there are a number of considerations that go into that. We are advisory, so we on that score. But obviously there's concern here, and it's something that, maybe we want to talk. I see that we have Senator Gennardis with us, and I am sorry if I was remiss in noting your appearance. Andrew, I'm sorry, Senator Gennardis, would you like to say anything?
For this board, it's always Andrew, okay? Hey everyone, sorry I couldn't join at the front end of the meeting. I got delayed, but great to see everyone. I understand we have some new people joining us today for the first time. Is that right?
Yes.
So welcome aboard to all the new members. This will be both the most rewarding and frustrating experience you'll have in community service, and I say that both with a smile on my face, because it really is truly incredible to be able to serve our community in this way. So thank you to everyone who's joining for the first time. I'm sure you'll have a great experience. A couple of quick things, and I know I'm probably towards the end of the meeting. Everyone wants to go have their dinner. Really very concerned about what's happening on the small business front. I know I caught part of the conversation about the restaurants and what's happening over the weekend, and we're having this catch-22 because everyone is frustrated. Everyone wants to get back to some type of normalcy, and we have to do it safely. And the city and state have not been forthcoming with really good guidance, and the city especially is trying to delay the rollout even longer, which is incredibly frustrating and incredibly disappointing. I have started a small business recovery working group. We're having our first meeting tomorrow. The point of this is not just to talk about ideas, but really to figure out and triage problems as they're arising and see if we can't get specific answers to specific questions that pop up. This way we don't let them linger and fester and leave people in a state of uncertainty. So we have about 30 or 35 business owners from across the district right now who are part of that. That effort will continue to grow. If you're interested, if you know someone that's interested, please reach out to my office. And we'll get you plugged into that. I too have met the new captain, and we had a really good conversation about a lot of our neighborhood priorities. And to Jill's point, I offer this information just as a point of information, not with any views on it. But the borough president last week proposed having community boards and community precinct councils be able to weigh in on the appointment of new police captains in every precinct as a way to empower and encourage community engagement on that front. So that's an idea that maybe you guys want to think about. The borough president put that out about a week or two ago. And so it's definitely worth considering and talking about more. And lastly, there's still a lot going on. We're still dealing with a lot of issues related to COVID. We still have seen, issues with unemployment, still have seen issues with food security. We are now offering food 4 days a week out of my office. Next week, we'll start offering it 5 days a week out of the office because the lines just keep growing longer and longer. So even though we're starting to reopen, there are still many people in our community who are not back to any sense of normalcy and who in fact are hurting even more so now. They've spent down their savings, they've maxed out their credit, and now they have nowhere else to go. So that's going to continue to be an issue for us, I think, for a few months still. So as always, reach out to me with any questions, concerns, ideas, problems, complaints, or save the complaints, but I'll take everything else. Either email me or call me or whatever, and we'll do it the best we can to help service you guys and help service the community. And I wish you all a very happy summer, a very safe summer, and we will all reconvene again in September. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Senator. Okay.
Well, Judith Grimaldi is in now.
Oh, finally. Hi.
Oh, hello, Judy.
I guess I just thank you for letting me in, and thanks, Dorothy, for helping out. I know I didn't get to speak on the police issue, but the whole community's concerned about it. So we as a community board, I support Jill, and we really have to either under the police and public safety, but we cannot not speak on this issue. It is too important, and we have to really coalesce around this. We can't put it aside, Lori. So please consider it very strongly in your upcoming agendas.
Okay. And thank you, Andrew. Appreciate that.
Okay, we have to do, before I put anything on an agenda, I like to do a little research and find out what our purview is and really what it takes to get something like that to move forward. So I always like to do a little bit of research rather than just throw something, on an agenda, because I don't want to be in a situation where it ends up that, of course we can always make suggestions, but it's better to make suggestions from an informed standpoint where you say, hey, we want to do this and we can do it by doing this. I feel like rather than throwing the idea out into the laps of elected officials and saying, hey guys, this is what we want, go figure it out. I always like to do a little research. So that's why sometimes if I don't sound like I'm encouraging an idea that's not really the case, I'm thinking, okay, how do we do this? How do we get that done? So I like to put in a little research instead of throwing it to a committee blindly, and then we'll see. But it has been a concern. And I do hear, having been the chair of police and public safety for a while, sometimes we do have commanding officers who are just so attentive and wonderful. And sometimes we don't get as much of a response as we'd like. I'll put it that way. So I'm not sure if the resolution is input on who we get or whether it's input on tenure. But we should have some input on, because we do need someone who fits our community and understands the issues of our community. One of my pet peeves, I'm sorry to drag this out, but since we're on the issue, one of my pet peeves has always been when we have a commanding officer that says to us, hey, crime in your district statistically is lower than in most districts in the city. And so basically you should just be happy. And my gut reaction to that is always, we don't strive to meet the lowest, the lowest level or even the median. We strive to keep what we have and always improve on it. And I think that should be the goal. At least the standard we have and improve on it should be the goal in any district. So it sounds really simple, but I think it's something that it's going to be something that we would have to tackle. So I'd like to put a little research and thought into it, before we actually put it to a committee. But, we're hearing concern, and so we'll work in that direction. So everyone, it's 8:38. I think we'd like to get moving on, even though this is our last meeting before hiatus. We're all going to miss each other. But I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, and Alice. I have a second there from Ruth Mazer with a hand up. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Everyone, have a great summer.
Take care, everyone. Good summer.
Happy Father's Day.
Summer, everybody.
Happy Father's Day, guys.
Summer.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Have a very nice summer.
Happy Father's
Take
Day,
care.
everyone.
Have a great summer.
Happy
Father's Day to the dads.
To all. Enjoy your summer.
Take care.
Bye.